Hello my dear sewing friends, it's Alisa here, and I've been sewing up a storm when it comes to making dresses for Project Dresser Girl, which of course means more fabric scraps, which leads us to another fabric scrap project. This time we're going to be making these cute drawstring bags. This is a very quick and easy project and very useful one because when you vary this in size, you can make these for a lot of different uses. For example, a shoe bag, a laundry bag, or a gift bag. So many different ways how to use this up and make something useful. Start by gathering your fabric scraps and cutting out 3 pattern pieces. You can see the dimensions for them on your screen. That's what's going to give you a little bag that we're going to be making today in this video. But of course, you can come up with your own measurements as well. This is what I have for my bag, and we're going to start working with the smallest pattern piece. First, we will need to fold in the edges about 1/4 inch once, and then 1/4 inch twice, then go to the sewing machine and stitch it down. And we're going to repeat that on both sides. Once done, this is what we're going to have. Now I'm going to fold it in half and cut through the folded side. Next, I'm going to grab one of the large pattern pieces. I'm going to take the small one that we just made, fold it in half, and then center it right here on top. At the sewing machine, I'm going to stitch it down with 3/8 of an inch seam allowance with a straight stitch. If it's easier for you, of course you can pin it first and then sew it. And don't forget that we will need to do this on both pattern pieces. After this, we will need to finish the raw edges up top, and you can do it 2 ways: on the sewing machine using tightly spaced zigzag stitch, an overcast stitch, or perhaps you want to do a really tiny flatwell seam. That is an option as well, or you can do it on a serger. After that, we're going to flip these parts up, then place these right sides together, and right here on the edges there should be plenty of space for you in order to construct a 3/8 of an inch seam. Let's pin it, and now we're going to sew it with a straight stitch from here all the way down, pivot, all the way here, pivot, and all the way up. When pivoting, leave the needle down and then turn your project so that way you get a nice and clean corner. Once done with a straight stitch, we will also need to finish the raw edges of the seam, and I'll be using a serger just like in the previous step. As an alternative, you can do a French seam on the inside so that everything is nice and enclosed, but you will need to leave larger seam allowances in order to complete it. At this point, the bag is done, and now we can turn it right side out. In order to get nice sharp corners, fold the seam allowance down like so and to the side. Now, turn out the corner and you will get a nice 90-degree corner. And let's do that on the other side as well. And you can leave this as is and give it a good press and then move on to the ties, but I like to do one extra step. With these seam allowances facing down, I like to give it a quick top stitch from one side all the way around. The goal here is to catch the seam allowance underneath, so don't stitch too far away from the seam. And also, since we're going through so many layers, you might want to increase the length of your straight stitch, so that way it's a little bit easier to go through them. Once done, let's tidy up any of the loose threads, tuck them in, and give it a good press. And after that, we'll move on to the last and final step, which is going to be making the ties. Option number 1 is to use ribbon or twill tape. You will need 2 pieces, and I will cut each one of them to be about 22 inches long. Take one of the ribbons, place it like so, and one end is going to go in here, and the other end is going to go in here, creating a little loop on the side, just like you see over here. Next, we're going to repeat exactly the same steps on the other side, but this one is going to be a little bit more challenging because we already have a twill tape or a ribbon in, but it's totally doable. So one end is going to go in here and the other one is there, creating the loop on the opposite side of the other loop. Now I'm going to grab the open ends on both sides and tighten them up like so, and then tie a knot with 2 ends in it. You will of course need to repeat the same steps on the other side. Option number 2 is to cut 2 strips of the same fabric, each one about 22 inches long and 1.25 inches wide. To create the tie, you would need to fold the edges evenly to the middle, then fold it one more time, and then stitch on the edge. Now the ties aren't cut on a bias, but if you do have a bias tape maker, use it in order to make the process go faster. Once you have sewn your ties, you're going to thread them through the casings exactly the same way as we did with the twill tape or ribbon. And that's it, your little bag is done. I have a feeling that you might be looking for more fabric scrap projects. If that's the case, click on the video right over here. You will see 6 fun and colorful projects that I'm sure you're going to love. Click right over here and I will see you in the next video. Until next time, happy, thoughtful sewing. I'll see you soon. Bye!